Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mind Your Mental. Just a reminder that this podcast is not meant to be a substitute for a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. I know they are hard to find, and I get that. I have a bunch of resources on my website if you need them, but I am not your clinician. I am a psychologist, but I am not your psychologist. So if you need any specific help, please look for the help of a licensed mental health professional. Learn all you can learn from the podcast. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mind Your Mental podcast. Today, we have Candace Marie Benbow, all three names, she's author of many things, essayist. I always say Candace Marie, that's my mom's middle name is Marie. So I'm like,
oh, yay.
The author of, this is her book, Red Lip Theology. I don't know if it's backwards. And if you're listening, it's Red Lip Theology. And you got to read the whole part because honestly, the picture would have got me to purchase the book. Because you look good, girl. You look good. But it says Red Lip Theology for church girls who've considered tithing to the beauty supply store when Sunday morning isn't enough. And I would have bought it just off of that. I was like, I like this. We've already stated all the amazing things that she has done. She is also a theologian. Did not know how to pronounce that word until You know when you read a lot, there are words that you know what they mean, but it's just like, please don't ask me to say this word out loud. Please don't.
And people often say theologian, and I never correct them.
Because that also makes sense, right? Like you got all these degrees. She also went to Tennessee State University, guys, where I'm currently a professor. Somebody commented on my post because I put my office reveal today, and they said, "Oh, you went to TSU? You teach at Texas Southern?" And at first I typed, "No, I go to the real T. I teach at the real TSU." But then I was like, "That's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. Why do you always? Why do you always have to jump on people like that?" And I don't know. It's just automatic. It's just automatic, and I'm just like, let me backspace. No, I teach at Tennessee State University. Yes, that's
the real TSU.
But my first was just like, go Tigers.
The real TSU.
But theologian, essayist, you probably written for some people, and we don't that as well, because I'm finding that some of my favorite authors, I think I'll be reading their words and didn't even, sometimes, I kid you not, when you read people's essays, and you read their blogs, and you watch their posts, and you read their books, you get a vibe of people's words. And I'm just going to say that. As someone who reads a lot, I'm just going to say, I'm sure I've read your work other places. I'm just going to put that out there. And you do a good job.
I enjoy ghostwriting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because I'd be like, that's that vibe. Sounds familiar. But for everyone who doesn't know, I read the book. Tell me more about Red Lip Theology and the genesis of it. The story behind it, I think, is amazing. I think amazing theories and the initiation of starting something comes from, I'm going to show you. So the story behind when you first decided that you were a Red Lip theologian, please share with my listeners. Because as soon as I read the book, I was like, and I know that's right. So share with them.
It's so funny because white people can do the most and the least at the very same time. So I went to seminary at Duke Divinity School, and my white classmates were always doing a lot. And so this particular classmate stayed doing the most. And when I saw him, I was in the library. When I saw him come in, I was like, oh, it's sheesh. It's that moment, right? And I look up and I'm like, of course, the only place that he's going to come and sit is by me. So he's like, so Candace, tell me, do you consider yourself a Black theologian or do you consider yourself a regular theologian? It was one of those moments where, you really gotta, I was like, I'm trying to be more like Jesus. So because I'm trying to be more like Jesus, let me just, leave. And I was like, I'm a Red Lip theologian. And he was like, who is that? Who came up with that? And I said, me just now, as I'm, getting my stuff together to, walk out. And it was one of those moments where it's just like, how insulting, first and foremost, is it that you would classify Black theology, the lived experiences, the lived religious experiences of Black
Mm-hmm.
people as something that is subhuman
Yeah.
to the genre of theology when Black people are more religious than white folks on any given day, right?
Yep.
And how dare you like insult the rigor of our study and demean it.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that there are some people who we can never educate to a point that like they get it or they care.
Yep.
So it was just one of those things where it's like, I'm not gonna have a conversation with somebody that I know does not care. Like you don't care. But what was powerful was like, you know how when you like, I done got this sucker.
I have those moments all the time.
Mhm.
So when I read it, that's when I'm just like, mm-hmm, and did.
It was one of them like Andy, like, and then I walked out and was like, ooh, like it didn't leave me after I said it. Like it didn't leave me. And the beauty of seminary, the beauty of engaging in theological education is that like I was able to talk it out with friends to be like, I think there's something here. And they were like, well, what is that something? And I would say something and they'd be like, all right, like you gotta let that cook a little longer because that ain't done. So like sit with that for a minute. But I knew that like for me, being someone who is a millennial, who was born and raised in the church, loves hip hop, always got in trouble for talking in school, who was going to do what she wanted to do regardless of the consequences. Like that there had to be a space where all of that fit into me and for me, and it was divine. And that was how I began to articulate what red lip theology is.
Yeah, because in your book and then also in your talks and your essays, it's pretty obvious that, and you've also shared that you've been reared at the intersection of faith and feminism, right? I
Mhm.
recently had a conversation with Dr. Anita Phillips, and she wrote The Garden Within. We were
Okay.
talking about a
That's my
theory, and
friend.
she was like, "Well, where does spirituality play in the theory?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't omit it. I just haven't really fleshed it out." And she said, "If you're talking about Black people, because it's a theory for Black identity development, she said you have to discuss spirituality and faith." And she asked me, "Do you have a problem with your spirituality?" And I said, "Oh, no, I don't have any problem with my spirituality. I think myself, as well as many other women, especially Black women, feel a certain way towards the institution of the church and the way it treats Black women, right? But I'm also very much aware, and she does the same thing in her book, that the church, the institution, and my spirituality, my faith, and my relationship with God are in no way the same thing.
Right.
However, it can also, I think a
I was
lot of
about to
people
say,
conflate it and state
yeah.
that, like, who are you to question God? And I'm like, I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning Deacon Johnson. I don't know what, I didn't know that that was the same person. I'm
Right.
questioning the actions of a person on this earth. Now we may identify that they are a messenger of God, amen. But I am not questioning God at this moment. And also, faith is also in the aspects of asking the questions. When you talked about your education part of theology and just being like, how do you, from a critical lens, look at different aspects of religion? I just really appreciated that. But when she asked me that, I was like, no, I think I have the issue that many Black women have. And I really appreciated when you shared that you're looking at the intersection of faith and feminism. You were reared in the church, and part of your identity was also created and developed and nurtured in the church. But a good chunk of your identity was also nurtured outside the church and in Sephora and listening to hip hop music and listening to It Takes Two. I was going to quiz you on some lyrics. I was
I ain't rock right
I
now.
my base that I came to get all right, you all
Yeah,
right.
that's
Okay, you
my
pass.
fault.
You pass. You pass. To make sure.
But what's interesting though is that yes, the institutional church and our spirituality and religion are not synonymous, are not the same thing.
Hey everyone, just a reminder that Mind Your Mental is not just a podcast, it is also a Amazing community, if I do say so myself. It's phenomenal. I mean, you get more access to me. What more could you want in this life? So, if you want to join the community, if you're not already on the community, go to my social media. My social media is the same, Raquel Martin PhD, and DM me the word community so you can get details on joining this amazing flipping community. You get more access to me, y'all. Like, I'm a delight. All right. All right. Hope to see you there.